I think I will start with an easy one. One single attack, 45 days of disruptions, 300 million loss of pounds, and an impact with the customers and within the market which is not measurable. This was Mark and Spencer. So I think right now we were just discussing about the data, how the data is important. And I do appreciate the fact that Bruno from Ferrero and Yosra is here with us for Astran, because the topic today is about how you manage your BCP plan. To make it very simple, how do you manage your BCP plan? Do you have one? Is it robust? Did you try it? That's all as many questions as you may all have. And on my department, I tried it 3 times, and 3 times I'm afraid to say that I failed. I mean, we succeed to do some things, but far from being to the level I wish I would be able to get. So, thank you very much being with us today. And I will start with you, Bruno, if you don't mind.
Yes.
I know we start normally with ladies, so I apologize first. But first question first, were you within, let's say, this current position or one of the former positions, confronted to cyber threats? And how do you reacted to it? And was it a significant impact in your day-to-day operations?
Thanks for the question. And indeed, the advantage of having a pretty long career in Treasury is that I probably have several examples of cyber threats, or I mean, it can be as well a president scam or anything that impacts the business. So indeed, I think over time, I think the treasury structures or infrastructures evolved as well. So I think the challenge that we face now are not the same as probably 10 years ago or 20 years ago. So I kind of thought about a couple of examples. One of them is a couple of years back. So it was one of my previous experience where there was an attack on the database of the ERP. They actually encrypted the data, so they created probably around 20 days of disruption. It was much more on the receivable side, so it was more on the shipping and customer data. But at the end of the day, we ended up calling the RCF, or a portion of the RCF, just to cover that. So there was a true treasury impact. We thought it was going to impact the liquidity, and that actually triggered pretty much an action that turned out to be costly. I think the event itself was costly, but from a treasury point of view, it had an impact as well. But then I recall that even 20 years ago, having a BCP plan built, what we had done at the time, we were in a situation where it was more about electronic banking system and host to host. It was not yet about cloud so much, or even Swift. And our BCP plan was actually to use fax indemnities in case we were gonna get attacked on the host to host, or we would have a problem to process electronic payments. I mean, the funny thing, or the big event that came from that, is that we actually got a president scam attack on the fax, and it turned out that our BCP solution was kind of the weakness, and for us at least, and we ended up having to cancel 600 fax indemnities across the region because it was carried the same signatures and all that. So. Yeah, I think it's definitely events that are happening in the life of a treasurer, and of course it's kind of, as you said, BCP is part of it, but of course it's also about following the trends and try to see what is in the market to help and find the most efficient solution.
And something I heard as well is that the duty related to anticipate such attacks are actually, let's say, often considered as being an IT and infrastructure technique, because we want to prevent them. But I would say this type of demonstration prove it wrong in a way. So then, question for you, Yosra. With your experience as a provider, in which extent are we wrong thinking that IT should be the lead on preventing such situation and anticipating the reply to it?
Yeah. Well, thank you for the question, Jean-Philippe. I'm very happy to be here with you today. It's actually at least partially wrong. The thing is, of course, it's the job of IT to manage from an IT perspective your tools, your ERP, your TMS, even why not your banking communication system if they're not included in those. But when a cyber attack happens, what is always underestimated is the time that it takes to rebuild. And when that happens, cyber is going to focus on finding the origin of the cyber attack. So they're going to cut even the things that are still working. That's the first thing that they're going to do. Also cyber attacks have evolved. And now cyber attackers know that the weakness point in all large organizations is the Active Directory. Because it means even if your TMS is up, they're not down, it's not their fault, it's not included in your SLAs, but you can't access it. And rebuilding an Active Directory in a large international group is a nightmare for all IT people. And so what that means is that I can take the example of Sanofi, one of our customers. They asked IT how long it would take to reconnect their most important treasury systems and to have all the data, the master data that they need to run them. Well, actually, it takes from 21 to 28 days. And what we've seen with Marks and Spencer is that it can be even more than that, because it took them more than 45 days. And so what that means is that the illusion in which we're living, saying that it's going to take a couple of hours to have your IT back, is not true. Also, the illusion of saying, I will have everything in my email if I don't have my TMS, is not true. Because your Active Directory is what enables you to connect to everything that you have. And so if you don't have access, you don't have access to anything, actually. And that's a real problem. And now, why it is not the problem of IT? Because IT is going to tell you it's your duty to do your continuity plan, because I don't know what you need. I don't know how is your governance. I don't know how your processes should be run, who should decide about the payment, who you should pay, and I don't know which data you need. And as long as you don't tell me that, I can't help you, actually. And so it's really something to be done hand in hand between IT and the corporate treasurer. But what we have seen as a new trend is the treasurer, and you mentioned it, Miriam, is the new trend as a treasurer wanting to have people in their team that are able to work also on cyber resilience. And, well, treasurers don't have time, but maybe we can get back to that. So it needs to be pretty simple and fast to be able to find at least a first level of solution to this problem.
Thank you very much. And then, Bruno, on your side, if we speak about resilience, and especially how to implement such resilience for this attack, how would you assess the impact within your department to get this actually live, tested, working, and let's say being comfortable with the solution you implemented?
Yeah, I think it's of course difficult to have the perfect answer, but I must say, and we had that discussion as well when we kind of discussed about this topic. I've been in different environments with different levels of, let's say, concentration of ERPs or different payment processes. Of course, having a much more, let's say, unique ERP instance where there's a much more concentrated payment process gives a bit of a perception, at least, that there will be a much higher focus on trying to get this ERP live and running. but it's true that it doesn't mean by all means that the treasury will be the priority of IT, because and it also means that it's not only the cyber attacks, because we are discussing also the fact that you have the downtime potentially of that unique ERP, but you have also any upgrade that you would do that probably weakens that time as well. So yeah, I think we had discussions indeed around what protects us, let's say, from the payment process point of view, and IT comes more with the, for example, high availability machines and the redundancy programs. But as a function, it makes sense to have your own also not only assessment but probably plan for at least to protect the processes that you own. Because indeed, even though you can probably point the finger to other functions if the payments are not going through, the reality is that you are still the owner. In the same way that you can probably point to other if a financing does not go through because legal did not go fast enough, but the reality is that you're still the owner of it. So I think there's definitely work to do at the function level to not only rely on other functions, even if you believe that it's a high priority for the company.
Yeah, makes total sense. And then it kind of lead me back to you for Astran, where I'm kind of thinking you're a fintech, your startup in your field. It's really your expertise. So how do you? It's pitch time. Kind of. In this type of situation, what would you bring to the table and make us treasurer, make our life easier and more reliable on the BCP plan? What do you bring?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm very reassured to be aligned with the 6 blocks of HSBC. The thing is, at the end of the day, to be able to run at least your minimum viable operations, you're going to need your processes. So that's a dynamic workflow and not a PDF. You're going to need your data. So you're going to need up-to-date data from your ERP and your TMS. And you're going to need your bank. You're going to need at least one bank that you choose to be the bank that knows about your continuity plan and who is able to react very quickly in case you have a problem, to help you and to also make some cash available to you if you need, and to really streamline the payment process. And so another thing that's extremely important is that in the past, BCP plans have been super long to execute. Why? Because describing your processes is not so natural. They are included now automatically in your TMS and in your ERP, so you're not used to describe them. And what happens is that you're going to pay consultants and wait for a long time for them to prepare something for you. Well, the good news is that we have now an AI use case for treasurers that's super simple and does not require any sensitive data, is that if you describe your process, even orally during a workshop with us, we can then leverage AI to provide you very easily with a process that is simpler than the one that you use day to day, because the objective is to run your most urgent operations, but that works and that is compliant with your internal processes. And so that's what we've done with Sanofi. We've done 4 workshops of 1 hour, and then we were able to deliver the full process for emergency payment of critical vendors and to connect all the data that they need, and that is now automatically saved within Astran. And so we provide a safe storage that we have patented, and that enables the data to be always available, even if everything else is down. Astran is always available. That's what we patented. That's how we created the company, actually. And also, all this data, it can be sensitive and confidential, and so we have enterprise-ready management of rights, who can access what. We have full traceability, so no fraud. You can see who has done what. And we are now building the last block, which is banking communication, so that you don't need to leave the Astran interface to communicate with your favorite bank that you've chosen as being the bank for your continuity plan. And so what we call it operational continuity, because the old BCP plans are like PDF that you store in a place that is not even available when you have the cyber attack, or that you print. And we think now we need to evolve with the technology, and actually having centralized treasury, ERP, and TMS makes you more exposed, but also makes it way easier to build a real operational continuity plan. And so, then we help you, and we can enable you to benefit from what we have done with other customers, because we've seen which process they do first. We've seen how fast we can do it. We've seen the priorities, and so we are really happy to also work with your bankers and define together the top priority and implement it. So that's what we've done with Sanofi. And by the way, why treasury? Because, cash is oxygen of your company. And so this is a use case that works for any company. Every company, every CFO is going to say that they want some treasury operations to be up and running, whatever happens. At least paying some critical vendors, paying the salaries, sometimes invoicing, depending on the business, sometimes retrieving your cash balance, sometimes your treasury market operations, for which sometimes you can't even wait for 1 hour. And so those are the use cases that we have developed with our customers, and we're going to stay for the evening, so I'm very happy to discuss this with you later on.
Thanks a lot, Yosra. To be honest, when I start reading about Astran, I was thinking, okay, it's like we all take planes, right? And you all have a life jacket under the seat, and you're like, okay, what's up for? I mean, we are flying. And I was thinking, yeah, it's great. It's like upgrading to a parachute. That's nice. But actually hearing it, I'm like, no, it's actually having a second plane in the back, which is ready to back us up. So I appreciate very much. So basically speaking, it's true that the reliability and the continuity we have within our department is key for everything, and especially for customers. So, yeah, your solutions, I like it a lot. So, if you have any questions further, don't hesitate. They are here with us, and I'm sure even Bruno has a lot to share on his extended experience.